Hi guys, I'm Seth. Welcome back to Warthog Defense. A dramatic counter-intelligence clash unfolded in Ukraine as the SBU launched a deadly operation against suspected Russian agents in the Kyiv region. These weren't ordinary spies. They are believed to have assassinated a Ukrainian colonel just days earlier. What followed was a high-stakes attempt to capture the killers, ending with Russian FSB operatives dead on Ukrainian soil. The shadow war between intelligence services just turned deadly and very public. Russian Secret Service agents were killed on Sunday in the Kyiv region during an operation by Ukraine's SBU intelligence agency to arrest them on suspicion of having shot dead an SBU colonel last week, Ukraine said. In a statement on the Telegram messaging app, the SBU said it believed the agents of Russia's Federal Security Service had been behind the killing of SBU Colonel Ivan Voronich in Kyiv on Thursday and that it had tried to detain them on Sunday. The SBU said two people were suspected of having killed Voronich, a man and a woman. It did not say how many suspected FSB agents had been killed in Sunday's incident. In a video published on Facebook, SBU chief Vasil Malyuk said, "During the arrest they resisted and there was a firefight, so the scum were eliminated. I want to remind everyone, the only prospect for the enemy on the territory of Ukraine is death." Voronich was shot dead in the street after leaving his apartment block in Kyiv on July 10th. As he walked down the steps and towards parked cars, a masked assailant approached him and fired a number of shots from a gun with the silencer before running away. A wounded Russian soldier has made a video appealing to be evacuated from the destroyed frontline town of Chasiv Yar, where, he says, he has been stranded in a cellar for 5 months. Chasiv Yar has been the scene of intense fighting since April 2024, in which thousands of Russian soldiers are likely to have died. Russia currently occupies about 90% of the town, which had a pre-war population of about 12,000. Murat Madzitovich Gochiaev of the 4th Assault Company of the 217th Guards Airborne Regiment, Military Unit 62295, says that he was wounded when he stepped on a mine while helping an injured comrade. "Now, I am alive, but I can't walk." He says that he was declared missing in action on 18 February 2025, but no one is taking me out. I'm sitting in a cellar with another 300 wounded men. Gochiaev blames Miko, the company commander, and the deputy company commander, Albert. According to Gochiaev, neither officer is making any effort to evacuate the wounded. This corroborates reports from other Russian sources that in many places few, if any, of the wounded are being evacuated. While the battlefield's dangers are part of the reason for a lack of evacuation, Russian commanders appear to be taking the attitude that only in death does duty end. As long as a soldier can carry a weapon, even if he is crippled, he can still fight on the front line. Gochiaev is clearly living in a cellar that is being used by other soldiers, given the impossibility of surviving for 5 months without food, water or medical supplies. Given the intensity of the fighting in Chasiv Yar, many others are probably also trapped. According to recent accounts from other units, commanders tell their men that they must crawl out, as they will otherwise not be rescued. Many, probably most of the wounded, likely die on the battlefield, adding to Russia's huge casualties. Russian propagandist Solovyev is threatening US again.
So maybe it's because Trump can't understand anything.
Maybe Trump simply cannot understand that in Russia they do not care at all about the national interests of other countries if they contradict the national interests of our country. The time when traitors of our motherland like Kozyrev would say, "Tell us what our national interests should be," is over. The time when someone named Yeltsin, who emerged by chance from the dust of history, managed to report to Congress that the idol of communism was defeated, and God bless America, and Russia too.
It's over forever. This will never happen again.
We are faced with a threat to the existence of our state, Russian civilization and Russian culture. And you want us to. Why should we fulfill the wishes of the President of the United States of America, who is absolutely correctly and reasonably acting in the interest of his country? But that does not at all mean that we should abandon the vital interests of our nation. Therefore, if you cannot treat us with respect, then instead of a worthy friend and partner, you might get the worst enemy in your life. If you think that 350 or however many million Americans can defeat 150 million Russians, then you do not know Russia well.
Finland's President Alexander Stubb has described Vladimir Putin as a strategic fool and a military failure, citing the Russian leader's miscalculations in Ukraine and the geopolitical consequences that followed. According to the Sydney Morning Herald, on July 12th, Stubb spoke from his official summer residence near the resort town of Naantali. Stubb outlined Finland's evolving security posture in the face of Russian military expansion along their shared 1340-kilometer border. He also warned that despite the ongoing war in Ukraine, Russia is unlikely to return to a peaceful democratic state, and its military buildup will continue. They will not revert into a peaceful liberal democracy. And second, they will continue a military buildup, said Stubb. Following the full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022, Finland ended decades of military non-alignment and joined NATO, prompting threats of reprisal from Moscow. Since then, satellite imagery has revealed Russian infrastructure developments along the Finnish border, including airfields, vehicle storage, and troop housing. To reinforce its own defenses, Finland has withdrawn from the Ottawa Convention banning landmines and announced plans, together with Lithuania, to begin domestic landmine production. A 200-kilometer security fence is under construction along the southeastern border. We can observe, we see the movement of the soldiers, we see the buildup of the infrastructure. It's normal, we did the same, said Stubb, noting Finland's long-standing policy of military readiness. Finland's military includes the largest artillery force in Europe, alongside Poland, over 60 Fa-18 fighter jets and newly acquired F-35s. It has committed to spending 2.5% of GDP on defense and intends to meet NATO's new 5% target over 10 years, 3% for conventional forces and 1% for security infrastructure. There's a reason why we have over 60 F-18s. We just bought 64 F-35s. There's a reason why we have long-range missiles, air, land and sea. And there's a reason why we have the biggest artillery in Europe, with Poland. And the reason is not Sweden, he added. Stubb also emphasized Finland's civilian readiness under its comprehensive security approach. The country maintains food and energy reserves and has underground shelters for 4.4 million of its 5.6 million citizens. Coordination between government and private industry ensures continuity in times of crisis. You fight wars on the military front, but you win wars at home, said Stubb. Stubb has also emerged as a rare foreign leader who maintains a working relationship with Donald Trump. In March, the two played golf in Florida, followed by another meeting during Pope Francis's funeral. Stubb has not revealed the content of those discussions, but noted, "I can describe to him the pulse of Europe on Russia. I can describe to him our experience with Russia, because we have 1340 kilometers of border with Russia." The New York Times reported that Trump's rhetoric on Russia hardened following meetings with Stubb. While not confirming a direct influence, Stubb acknowledged, "I'm probably a conversational partner." Asked whether NATO remains reliable under US leadership, Stubb responded, "I rely on America. Not anywhere have I heard the US withdrawing from NATO." At the recent NATO summit, the alliance agreed to raise defense spending targets, a move Stubb attributes in part to Trump. "We just had a historic NATO summit where we agreed to increase our defense expenditure from 2% to 5% of GDP, and Trump should be given credit for that." Regarding Russia's place in this equation, Stubb calls it a vassal state of Beijing, saying, "They are, right now, allies of interest, but China could drop Russia at the snap of its fingers if it so desires." Reflecting on Finland's own history, Stubb notes that the country has endured over 30 conflicts with Russia since the 1300s. For him, preparedness is not a choice but a necessity. Can you imagine us being outside of NATO? It would be like being naked outdoors in minus 20 degrees. It would not be comfortable. Earlier, US President Donald Trump criticized Vladimir Putin, saying, "We get a lot of bullshit thrown at us by Putin," and confirmed he is seriously considering new sanctions against Russia, including a 5% tariff on countries still trading with Moscow.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.